pose the question, how do you think her initiative went, and what do you guys think about it, and how she was involved and engaged, and we saw her out dancing. So like, what did we think about how she's tried to combat obesity?
I think
Any
as
thoughts?
someone, since she actually worked out and she cared about, what her body looked like as well as her health, that was one of the best things for her to do. And at that time, a lot of kids, childhood obesity is still an issue, in the world, especially in America. I thought that was, a good way of her getting the kids to come out and actually partake in activities that would be fun as well as help them get back in shape. And her being out there and actually partaking in it shows that she wanted to be part of it. It's not just something that she was just doing just to do.
Right. And I would like to piggyback on you, Sandy. I think the same thing. She was very passionate about it. And her actually, placing this in the schools and being a part and going in the community and helping to grow different gardens. I think that just made it even more important to all the individuals around, because she actually immersed herself in the community and saw that she was everyone around her could see that she actually, cared for the health of not only herself, her family, but individuals around her, as well as the health of our kids. Because in the past, our kids, have had food choices, but just random food choices, they have to have like a fruit, a vegetable, and things of that nature. But adding those other ideas and options to those food choices in the schools have helped try to combat childhood obesity as well. So I think it was a fantastic initiative, and what better way to do it on the platform as the First Lady of the United States of America.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
okay, let's go. I thought I heard. Does someone else want to share anything about her initiative?
No, I was just saying I agree. Being in the school system, you can see the change once she made that initiative, how it just truly changed the way the lunches were. I think some of the schools may have took it to heart about being healthy because some of the food kind of went to a whole different level, but make it like you said, making sure that they have a fruit, making sure that they have a vegetable, because at any other time they wouldn't get it, so the lunchroom staff won't let them go through the line without a fruit, without a vegetable. They have to get those things. So I agree. I totally agree.
Oh yes, that's absolutely right. You are so right. And I think it also changed the vending machines in schools as well, if I'm not mistaken. I remember at the high school, our vending machines went from Pepsi to water, and our snacks changed in the schools as well. So it was not just in the cafeteria, but it was everywhere. So that was good for me too as a teacher, and me choosing my snacks. Okay. All right, so Sandy, if you share your screen again, I'm going to send this video and you can play it from your end as the student. And everyone also, you can, if your phone is on mute, you can play the video and watch it as well.
Hold on, I'm waiting for it to come up. Let me stop sharing. Let me go. Okay, here's my Nearpod. All right. All right, there we go. All right, you can go ahead and play it. It should be okay.
You hit play.
Oh, I hit play.
Sandy, did you share it on the correct screen? I think you shared it on the incorrect screen because we can't hear the volume.
I don't know. You can't hear it at all?
No, it's like far, far, far in the background. I think you shared it to your projector versus to the computer itself. You're going to have to share it on your Chromebook.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so let me stop sharing this then, and then put Nearpod on the Chromebook.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To the code. JU. All right, technology. All right, so go back to Zoom. Share. Am I sharing an application? Oh, I see it. I see it. All right.
I think the most moving part of my trip so far was seeing 92-year-old Nelson Mandela and just thinking about his life.
Can you hear it now?
And
Yes.
this man had
Okay.
lived through a struggle that few nations know. He was detained in prison, missed seeing the growth of his children, his grandchildren, his relationships. He came out to see change happen. All that he had worked for. There must have been moments in that jail when he thought, this is too slow. I am so tired. And this is never going to work. But God saw fit to have him see the day that I am sitting in his house as First Lady of the United States after gathering these young women. Right? That happened in his lifetime. That seems like a long time. But my God, it was quick. That was quick. If we all think like that, if we see Mandela as hope, and we see this slowness not as a reason to stop and be impatient, but just to keep moving, right? And not get so caught up in the immediacy. Because the only thing that happens in an instant is destruction. When you think of it, earthquakes, here, you build something, earth is gone, if you know? But everything else requires time. Raising children, building a family, having a career, all of it is time. I want you all to continue to work fiercely and to be impatient, but don't let the struggle discourage you, because it's hard and it's supposed to be hard. And if it were easy, we wouldn't have anything to do.
I love that video and her talk of patience. And so she was discussing just what she took back after meeting Mandela. So a key section in the novel is when Michelle meets Nelson Mandela. She writes, life was teaching me that progress and change happens slowly, not in 2 years, 4 years, or even a lifetime. We were planting seeds of change, the fruit of which we might never see. We had to be patient. Let's talk about how this relates to their time in the White House and in the aftermath. So when you think about what she wrote, what is your takeaway from that?
Well, I know it talked about in the book about, at first, like life was very, very demanding whenever she was trying to actually balance her role as a mother, as the First Lady of the United States, and all of the duties that she had to do. And it was just like difficult for her to actually keep track of everything and to make sure she didn't lose count of anything that she actually had going on. And then whenever she actually got to sit down and meet Nelson Mandela, then that she stated that Mandela's sacrifice for his nation motivated and propelled her. And that's when she actually learned that change is a gradual process, and thus that she had to be patient with everything that she had going on and everything that was going on around her.
The wisdom. Yeah. Anyone else? What did you take away from that experience that she shared?
I like in the video when she said things that happen at an instant are basically destruction, and things that we want or fruits of our labor takes time. So because things takes time, we have to be patient because it's going to take time. If it's supposed to happen right now, right here, then it's not worthwhile. And I enjoyed that. And that was a huge opening. It was like, that it makes sense. Like a lot of time we want things to happen right there, right here, right now. And that's not how things work. And we don't have that time. We have not given ourselves time to process what's going on because we want it right here, right now. So I really enjoyed that take.
Right. I get so anxious sometimes. So like reading that, it's like, oh, you may not even see the fruits of the fruits of your labor. And I'm like, or, from planting your seed. And I'm like, I want to see it tomorrow. And I I'm human. I think that way. But she is so right. Her time in the White House was her and, Barack really, truly just planting a seed. And as she mentioned, they may never see what comes of it. I mean, but they did see, look at, our vice president, and so I think that as time go on, then, they will see the seed that they, the fruit of their labor. So I think that's pretty awesome. Does anyone else have anything to share about Michelle meeting Mandela?
The only thing, this is Holly. The only thing, it brought back memories for me because I worked with a guy from Africa who, I guess he had worked with Mandela. So when I read this with Michelle, I could go back and I could see Mr. Jaja all the time talking about the focus and everything. And where we're talking, she's saying it's not going to happen immediately. That's because we've been raised to expect instant gratification. And it's hard for us to be patient and to wait. I know that a lot of times I do something, I know that it's going to come in the end, but I want it right now. And I could not help but admire her because she has the patience. And when I sat there reading what she said, it just made me wish I could be like her. I just feel that this woman was so powerful. She's so special.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree 100% with that.
And just to make like a connection between a lot of us on this call are actual teachers. And we know whenever we teach the different concepts in class, that's something that we don't expect for our students to grasp that information that quickly. However, whenever that light goes off, it's just like an aha moment for us. And I can just only fathom the feeling that she had, whenever she's seen all of those different aha moments as being in the position, that she served for 8 years.
Right. That's a great point. And as we continue to discuss her, being in the
Dr.
White
Beth?
House, that brings this question about. It says, towards the end of the book, Michelle Obama reflects on leaving the White House and handing it over to Donald Trump. What are the Obama's opinions about the Donald Trump presidency, and do you agree or disagree with her stance?
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Okay, this is Estelle. She was definitely not happy about it. The part that I remember in the book, when they were at the inauguration, and she talked about her appearance, how she had to be careful, how she responded, how she acted, because all camera was on her.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, she was always so cautious about how other people looked at her. And at this particular point in the book, she was, of course, we know she was not happy about it, but they had to put on a face, so to speak, because all eyes were on her. So I thought that was a point that I liked in the book about her.
And if you notice that during the inauguration, she had nothing but grace and class.
Definitely.
In her persona, the way she acted, and even though she did not like what the way she was leaving the White House, the people that she was leaving it in the hands of, she was still able to make a graceful exit. And I mean, that's awesome.
Oh. Yes, I going back to what I think was Estelle said, all cameras were on her, and like you said, she had to, watch what she said and did, and it's almost like she was on all the time. And then when I think about Donald Trump, it's like the exact opposite. He don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He don't care what he say, what he do. He know cameras are on him, so he puts on his show, and it's just
horrible.
I don't have words. I don't have any proper words for it. But it's a mess, and it's a show that I never anticipated watching, for sure. So it's just interesting how that goes back to what we discussed last meeting, when we said, we have to have this persona, nice, patient, gentle, so that we won't be labeled and not come back from it. But that's just not the case for other people. So yeah.
And she was warranted in feeling the way that she felt about Donald Trump, because he had made so many personal attacks against her. He was so instrumental in spreading that birther conspiracy, with her husband. But she still, I don't know, she kept it together. And I don't know if it's, well, no, I won't even say that. I was gonna say that, sometimes we are, as Black women, kind of expected to shrink ourselves and not be the full of who we are, because of how, it may make someone else uncomfortable or whatever. But she did it, and like you all said, hey, that was a lesson that Trump could have learned from her, which he did, and she was very warranted in how she felt. But he's not warranted in how he feels and what he's doing at all.
This is Estelle, and it's very unfortunate that we can do something and we can be ourselves, and if they don't like it, we're labeled. But they can do something and be themselves, and it's totally different. It's like like what's going on now. I'm sure that was going to come up in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
We cannot be ourselves, because as Black women and Black people, period, we are labeled if we do something that's against their norm.
Yes, we always have to show the cropped and edited version of us. We can be ourselves, but we can't show all of it. We have to, put on the wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And
right. Okay, we can continue because that will come up again. So that takes us into her talk about politics. So just to get a survey of the room, are you a fan of politics? And I mean by a fan of politics, when people say, well, I'm not a fan of politics. Are you a fan of politics? I know one of us is. We were definitely watching CNN.
Yes.
Okay, so we need a few more answers. Well, it looks like a few people have jumped off of Nearpod, but you're still on the call, so we can just talk about it. You don't have to necessarily answer the question. Okay, there we go. Majority of us are saying no, we're not a fan of politics. And this is what Michelle said. She writes, I've never been a fan of politics, and my experience over the last 10 years has done little to change that. Do you find her statement surprising? And do you think politics is an effective way to make social change? What do you ladies think? Why aren't you a fan of politics?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, why aren't we a fan of politics?
For me, I won't say that I'm not a fan, but politics is kind of a broad term, as far as what it does to change the things that we need changing, and when the right people are in office, and if the networking is done correctly, appropriately, morally, well, yes, I'm a fan of politics. But as far as following and know who's who and who's doing what and what this person's office is and how they're related to, this, that, and the other. It seems confusing. And I guess sometimes people, in my case, I'm not a fan of politics in that way, because it's just so much to decipher, I guess, and just kind of keep straight. And that's my stance on it.
I would say for me, I like to keep up with what's going on. I think all of us really in the back of our mind, because everything that we do is pretty much dictated by politics. But I have found, even with Michelle, that with her not being a fan and her being a lawyer, that is very, very surprising to me. But everything we do, it has something to do with politics, because you have to vote on it pretty much, and somebody is controlling it, even our groceries. So it's everything that we do, we have to be mindful. And even though we don't want to be a part of it, but we need to get more involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel the same, that we need to get more involved, because I know I do, and probably in the last, since Obama was elected, and maybe this last presidential election was probably the most I've been involved in it. But it's so much that goes into politics, and so much you have to know to be able to understand it, and why they did this and why they're doing that. It's just so much that goes along with it. That's the reason why I'm not a strong fan of politics, because there's so much that goes into it. But as far as getting more involved and being able to understand more, I feel like I do need to. But it's just so much under.
I'm not a fan of politics, but I know all of the information is so important that it's connected with politics. I know, as myself, a lot of you all are connected or have friends or associates that are in different politics. I know, as myself, being in different organizations, I've been to the Capitol a numerous amount of times, and been to the White House and things of that nature. But all of the different policies and laws that are actually in effect, it is just a plethora of information that there is. And it's a lot of controversy when it comes to politics and discussing politics. And sometimes individuals are they're very heartfelt heartfelt about the topics that they discuss. And I feel like since a lot of people are heartfelt when it comes to the topics being discussed, and they are so passionate about some of the bills and laws that pass, when it comes to discussing them and them talking about their stance and you talking about your stance, I like to refrain and have a common ground. So that's really why I'm not a fan, because each person is entitled to their own opinion. But I just rather not bring it up, because there's someone that's always going to have something to say or think that their opinion is better than your opinion. But everybody has their own stance on the different laws, the bills, and everything else connected to politics. So that's why I stay away from politics altogether.
But like discussing religion with somebody else,
Yeah.
you know, it's discussing religion and things that goes on, and you have your belief and you have your belief, and it kind of can get ugly at times. So I'm about like you. I try to stay away from it as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
Estelle. This is Estelle. I love politics, as you know. I'm married to a man, but it did not come from him. My mom was very, very much into politics, and she ingrained in us, and she knew the history. We moved here from Selma, Alabama, and she left because she said, if we don't leave now, we will get killed down here. And she just told us the story, and she made sure that we voted. She would call us and say, did you get up to vote? That's your right. People died for your right to vote. And I don't know a lot of the laws, but I know a lot of the people. So I'm up till, when these elections come up, I'm up all night watching it and can't get any sleep. And I know I took this speech class a long time ago, and I think someone was just talking about religion. Religion and politics are two things that you're never going to agree upon, especially if you're at two odds. So that's like a losing battle. But I love politics. But I don't know a lot of the laws. I mean, I try to read, but I'm so busy with some of the stuff. But I love politics.
I wasn't surprised by her statement, because I think her being part of the White House and knowing and having firsthand kind of, okay, this is a bill. The House take this bill and this is what they present. And then by the time it gets to her husband, it has changed a million different ways. Or her husband and the House and stuff think about a specific bill that would be great for the people. And then in their mind, oh, I'm not going to do this because we don't want this to be a Black man legacy. So I think that has, made her not care much about politics, because she noticed that it's not really like what she stated in her in the book. It's not really about the people. A lot of it was, I did not want, I wanted Barack to be a one-term president, as opposed to I want these policies or these benefits for the people. So I think that has a lot to do with her not caring much for politics too.
And even before he even decided to actually, run to be the president of the United States, that was one of the main statements that she made earlier on in the book, where she stated she didn't care too much for politics. And so, President Barack Obama had to figure out a way to actually ask her if she would be on board if he were to run for president. And then after, all of those years, she still is literally at the same place. However, she and her husband have continued to make a positive difference, into. And that's all about that.
No, that's great. If you put all of what everyone said together, I think that answers the last question, which is, do you think politics is an effective way to make social change? Because I think that if we, I think it was Estelle, like we all get involved and we see how change can happen, and we can just, I think that it'll just continue to grow as long as we don't have to be a fan of it, but we just have to be involved, like you guys said.
Yes.
Definitely. The last, the Georgia election shows that, politics, can create
Yes.
effective way, to make social change. We have our
Yes.
very first, Black senator. So it does. Georgia flipping from red to blue.
Yes.
Since what, 20 plus years. So
Yes.
it does, says that even with, the last few hours, now people talking about, okay, so there is a problem. Black people was at the Capitol, and this is what happened. White people was at the Capitol, this is what happened. So that talk, that conversation is happening, and is due to politics. True. Our president being, Trump being banned from social media. That's a part of, social change.
Yes.
That's a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 And if the right people are in there, not in it for selfish reasons, things can get done.
Definitely.
Okay. So let's do a collaborate board. And we are almost done here. And we don't actually have to do it. We can talk about it. Hold on, y'all. My little one is fussing at me because she wants a purple iPad instead of a pink one. Hold on.
Give it to her.
I know. Okay. Okay, let's get the purple. Okay, so we're done with the book. What are some highlights for you in this read? Let's dump them on here, and then we're all done with the Nearpod.
Boy, there were so many. Jesus. Yeah, so many. Wow.
Your most favorite, like my most favorite is her experience with Mandela. Like that is something that stuck out to me, and that wisdom that she shared, and being patient, like we discussed. I really enjoyed just reading. I enjoyed just reading her experience. So I mean, her whole life is highlighted. It is great. Sandy said, "You are forever becoming," and that is so true. I love that.
One thing that is probably kind of comical, but that stuck out to me, and I think I discussed that today at work with Dr. Finney Williams, is when she was telling about the petting zoo that they had, and but she then it ended up being a dream when she said how the animals was chasing Barack and the children. And Dr. Finney Williams and I was like, well, I didn't hear that in the news. How did that happen? But finding out it actually ended up being a dream, that was really funny to me because I just could not believe that. That was hilarious.
And I kept saying, why would somebody bring in these animals?
I know, right? And then it was not tied up or locked up of anything.
Yeah.
But I really truly enjoyed that book. I really did.
Oh, yeah, too. I mean, I think for me, it's just, reading about her upbringing, how, it wasn't so different from a lot of ours. It's, I guess it's just, the opportunities that you have, what you used to do, with your life and your opportunities. But I mean, like she listened to the same music I listened to growing up, and, just some of the same experiences, and her relatives sound like some of my relatives.
I know, right?
Well, mine was that I just like becoming, and just like now she's still saying, she's still trying to become herself, or, and it's still, she's a work in progress, and that's with everybody. And so that makes you really think that's really deep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a person that really loves children. So my thing in the book it seemed that I was always seeking out how she related with her daughters. I really adored the parts where she talked about the girls. All through the book, I enjoyed all the parts of her talking about the girls.
I like how she really put together, like toward the end, she was talking about putting together that health initiative, how she didn't really know, how she was going to do it, but it just kind of started with the little garden and, everything. And then with the chef that she had, and how everything just came together. And, she said before she left the White House, that small little garden, she wanted to, just make sure that it took up as much space as it could. So it was, enlarged. And even during his term, I can remember at school, when they were, Dr. Bess, you remember when they were, yes, you do, when they were getting the rush. Oh, when the cafeteria was giving out all the different types of fruits and vegetables to the kids, at the end of the day, like they had, and she was just, and that was part of her initiative. She was just trying to make sure that, kids had the advantage of things that they probably wouldn't have otherwise. I mean, they got star fruit, they got kiwi, they got different types of vegetables that they just, and they said that was part of her Get Healthy initiative.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think some of the highlights for me were, her actually finding her purpose and actually the fulfillment and the growth throughout, her entire life. So
I think for me, she cared about the little people. When that young lady was there in Washington, I believe at the inauguration, and then she got killed, and she went to the funeral. And also, when she was invited to speak, it wasn't about speaking at Princeton or Stanford. It was about reaching out to these smaller schools that you don't hear a lot about, so that she can leave a legacy, to let these young ladies know that, I'm no different than you are. I have sat in places where you've sat, so you can do what I've done. And that's what really admired me about Michelle. She cared about we'll say, quote unquote, the small people that nobody ever thought about. And, you don't have to be this big person to achieve a lot. Just work hard and you will get where you want to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She was inspirational and she was motivational. And she really, encourages all women to be a better version of themselves and to be themselves at the same time. And I love that about her. So I look at the time. Now, I'm not sure if there's another meeting behind us, but Sandy has a few things to share. And I wanted to personally say thank you all for joining us and reading our first book together. It's been great. And I, when I was just on mute, I told my husband that I will forever have a sitter during book club time. Because I'm not doing this again. I am not doing this again with the baby. But Sandy has some things about our next meetings and so forth. So I'm going to pass it over to Sandy.
Yes. Again, thank you all so much for being part of the Envision Book Club. So last time, right before we started, we sent out a Google form, and these were the suggestions for books. So on Saturday, we'll send out another Google form with those books included. And if you all have any additional suggestions that you would like to give us, we will add them to the book list that was given to us a few months ago. And then we'll do another tally, and then the top book that will determine our next novel or our next book for our next meeting. Our next meeting will be on February the 4th. And we're looking at the first and third Thursdays of each month will be our meeting days at 6 p.m. since there's nothing following those meetings. So we are able to actually talk and discuss and things of that nature. So it'll be the first and the third Thursdays of the month. With that being said, I thank you all so much. And myself and Denise, thank you all so much for being part. Because of that, we have some goodie gifts for you all. On Tuesday, Dr. Hill and I will be at Willis Miller Library from 4 to 4:45. If you all can come and pick up your goodies. Your thank you goodies. If you cannot pick them up, I guess we'll drop them off at Dr. Carla's Walker's.
Well, we can actually just, if you all make arrangements with us, like I know Dr. Best comes by here all the time, I can give you yours, or we can meet with you individually whenever you're available.
Yes. But Tuesday from 4 to 4:45, we will be at the library and you can come pick up your thank you goodies. So thank you so much. And I'm hoping after each book, we'll have something to show our appreciation to y'all, because we know it takes time. So thank you so much for giving us your 1 hour every couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. You all did an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you. So I get to see a lot of you on Tuesday.
And thank you so much, ladies. It was suggested that we start a book club by some of the other members during this pandemic. And this has just been a great way to have excellent discussions with you ladies. Thank you to Sandy and Denise for leading our book club as the book club co-chairs, and we have really enjoyed it. Thank you to all the participants again, and we hope to see your smiling faces early on Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. for our January section meeting.
Yes. See you guys then. Bye.
Yeah. See y'all later.
See you later.